Let's get the thoughts now of the Labour MP Rupa, who's with me. Welcome, hi. I spoke to one of your colleagues, Ian Murray, just a little while ago, and he said that the sort of compromise that is being looked at the moment between Labour and the Tories is pointless because it's not as good as the position that we're in at the moment.
I mean, we know that from these indicative votes, this multiple choice that we've done twice now, that any other form of Brexit, any type of Brexit, whether it be May's deal, whether it be no deal, is going to be worse than what we have now. And that's every government analysis that showed that the economy shrinks, jobs are lost, every region of the country, every sector of the economy suffers. So yeah, I mean, he is right. But there is a way out of this.
Hang on, so I mean, why is Labour then getting involved in these? Why not become a party of Remain?
Well, look, I mean, I think it's only right and proper that after 3 years, when the government doesn't seem to have sorted anything out, that we do look at other options, and that it's a minority government, for pity's sake. In those kind of circumstances, when there's no parliamentary majority, it makes sense to reach out across the aisle rather than keeping your arms folded. And, you know, a lot of the people behind her, she's been relying on, the ERG, the DUP, have been trying to knife her in the back. So I think it's right we do this. But, you know,
just to come, you know, if you're at home and you're watching this process and you're saying, well, we're hearing the MPs saying that actually the compromise is not as good as the status quo. And on the other side, of course, you've got those who say the only way to give the people what they want is to have the no-deal Brexit. And then they hear MPs like you saying the sort of compromise that we're looking is not going to be anywhere near enough. It's like, why bother? How can you sell it to people?
And I'll be putting this to... Hello, Steve. Yeah, I'll be putting this to Theresa May, who I'm going in to see myself at 2:30 this afternoon, because she did a Dear Colleague letter to all MPs. I took her up in the chamber and said, I'll meet you, so I'm going in there on a one-to-one. And I'll be saying she could get her deal through. Labour would agree to it if she attached a confirmatory referendum on the end of there, because some of these other things are not achievable, they're not workable, the no deal and stuff, for the functioning of our country. They're not a good idea. We know hers would work. We don't like it on the Labour benches, that we found things we do not like, but if it's the only one that our government has negotiated that would work, that's sanctioned by the EU, why not put it to the people with the alternative of remaining? Because we certainly know that that works.
And Rupa, just picking up then on the referendum, and Keir Starmer saying that it is something that they're going to be discussing today. When you go down that path, even if there were to be agreement in the Commons ultimately, or as part of this deal that there should be a referendum, those of you who want one say that it should be a choice between whatever the Commons majority is and Remain. There will be many who say, well, that is absolutely not fair at all. And if you want to really alienate people out there, don't give them the no deal option. Why not have that on the paper?
That's the problem with having a binary choice.
Well, it would be a three-way choice, wouldn't it?
Question, because the thing is, work would have to be done. Those things, we know that they're not really workable. And we don't have the luxury of time. Businesses want certainty. So I think we have a deal in place that would allow us to leave the European Union.
But your view is, sorry to interrupt again, but your view is that the deal, the compromise, is not as good as remaining.
So I would encourage people to vote to remain. Yeah, but I mean,
then surely you've got to give people who voted as the majority at the last referendum, you've got to give them the other alternative, which is to leave without a deal.
The thing is, it was an instruction without a specification. That's the problem with this sort of thing. It was a binary choice, and I think these big things shouldn't be simplistically thrown out like that. In the Republic of Ireland, they had a vote recently on abortion reform. It went through 70-30 because the exact wording of what they were getting was on the ballot paper, and I think that's what we need. We need a realistic thing that is workable versus Remain, which is the status quo. In trade union agreements, that's a normal way of doing it. And when you sign any contract, you should read the terms and conditions. With something of this magnitude, you know, you should, of course, look before you leave. So I think a little checking mechanism. Do you still want it? Do you want it in this form? Or do you want what we've got? Because you don't have to do this at all. That's what I would say. And that's what I'll be saying to the Prime Minister at 2:30 today.
OK, thank you very much indeed for joining us.